shedding a light on the darkness of addiction and the joy of recovery, from first use to final meeting.
We explore the challenges for people on the road to recovery and the resources available every step of the way. Let's go on the record.
From WPBF 25, this is On the Record with Todd McDermott and Nathalie Pozo.
The most recent numbers show there were more than 106,000 drug overdose deaths in the United States in 2021. And about 75% of those fatal overdoses involve the use of at least one opioid. Joining us now to go on the record, community advocate Ray Whitley. He is the founding pastor of the Trinity Counseling Center, a community resource center in Palm Beach County. Ray, first, thanks for being here. Let's talk about the center. You deal with people's emotional, mental, and personal goals and struggles in the face of addiction.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We kind of see the worst of the worst, and we go to where they are. We necessarily don't have them come to the offices that we have in Boynton, Lake Worth, and the Revere Beach area, but we go to where they are, which are more so parks, those different communal spaces.
And as a pastor, I know you have some views, some opinions on what's fueling this ongoing opioid epidemic that our community faces.
Oh, great question. Life. We are still seeing the impact of COVID-19. The inflation's there, different anxieties, different stress levels or triggers or those types of things. So a lot of people are just deciding to self-medicate. And once you start to self-medicate, it takes on a life of its own. And that's what we're seeing far too many times right now.
And I mentioned the fatal ODs, and we have to mention specifically fentanyl. Deadly synthetic man-made opioid, much more powerful than heroin, now being mixed with heroin and cocaine, and it's killing people at a very alarming rate. Has that changed the situation, fentanyl itself?
Absolutely, because usually you don't really get too many chances when fentanyl is in the equation. So things are happening so fast. So we kind of had to spring into another gear of action and start to think outside the box on how do we meet some of these needs or just react to some of the stuff that we see.
Tell me about your interaction with people who may have been dealing and are using fentanyl itself. What's the impact of the drug on the people that you are counseling and trying to help?
The impact is, sadly, when we find out that they've mixed it with fentanyl, they've already overdosed. And you hear about the overdoses and you're somewhat visiting people in the hospitals, and we're having too many funerals, to be frank. You know, so you don't know that they're using it, you just see the impact of the usage.
You know that fentanyl has ratcheted up the danger
Absolutely,
so much.
Absolutely. And the hospital visits and the funerals.
Now, do you have some opinions on next steps to try to take fentanyl itself out of this equation, off our streets?
Yes and no. And here's the yes part. I do think that, talking to me, government has its role. Churches definitely have their roles. Nonprofits have. Impacted persons have. We got to come together and have a conversation, real-time conversation with real-time answers, or offer up some solutions that we may all have, right? What has happened is government think they have all the answers, and then the nonprofits think that they have all the answers, and we are working in like silos. What I know isn't the answer, and it's criminalizing people who have a disease. That's not the answer.
We've heard a lot from politicians about fentanyl itself, but because of this particular scourge, the old ways of dealing with addiction just aren't enough.
No, it's not. And the model that we use to deal with addiction, it's not working. You know, there's a model that was passed down from the 90s or from the 80s, but we're in 2024. We have younger people who are dying from fentanyl, right? And we just don't know how to deal with it. You know, We don't have the answers. We have to first start with knowing that we don't have the answers. But as a community of different sectors, different people, we're pretty smart, and we could craft out just a few things.
And that leads to my other question, which is there, with a change in direction, a change in focus, is there a light at the end of the tunnel, at least when it comes to taking fentanyl out of this equation?
I will hope so. And as a person of faith, I have to have faith that there is. But I'm gonna do the best that I can on my watch. And I'll encourage other people to do the best that they can on their watch. And be faithful and prayerful that there will be this light.
Is there a success story you can share?
Absolutely. So here's what we've been doing. We've been educating churches, pastors. We've been educating store owners. We've been educating youth groups, youth organizations as to what fentanyl is. We're leaving it with them. Hopefully that'll make a dent, because education is the key, right? How do we deal with what's causing people to self-medicate, but how do we give them something? I'm ashamed to even mention that 3 years ago, I had no idea what naloxone was. And I was educated. So we took that journey into educating others. Once we start to educate people and they know that it's there, and put in naloxone in every home.
And that has made such a difference. It is saving lives.
It's saving. So here's a success story. We've educated these different convenience stores. And I was in the Boynton Beach area close to a year ago. And somebody mentioned that, Rev, you would not believe, somebody overdosed, and somebody from inside that store had the naloxone, came out, saved this person's life. So that person, it definitely made a difference in the work that we're doing.
And we save one person at a time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate the work you do.
All right.
Now, coming up, my co-anchor Natalie Pozzo looks at the resources available for people who are struggling with addiction.
Thank you for making WPBF 25 the #1 television station in South Florida, your #1 source throughout the day, keeping you connected, safe, and informed. Most watched for breaking news and weather from every local community. Warning you first with our area's only certified most accurate forecast, now for 11 years. Thank you for trusting us. We are WPBF 25 News.
Choose Advil Liquid Gels for faster, stronger, and longer-lasting relief than Tylenol Rapid Release Gels. Because Advil targets pain at the source of inflammation. So for faster pain relief, Advil, the pain away.
I feel that I can beat anything in this world but my own cigarette habit. I spend a little over $6 for a pack of cigarettes, and I smoke 2 packs a day. If you calculated what I spent in a week, I could probably pay my family's bills. Family is everything, and I want them to be proud of me.
Visit tobaccofreeflorida.com to find free resources to help you quit your way.
I can't wait to get out of here. And right into my shower. Dial with Hydro Clean Complex and Vitamin E. Cleanses deep but is gentle on skin. Dial up your day. Let's do this.
If you're looking for the yard of your dreams, look no further than Moon Valley Nurseries. America's largest box tree grower is now open in Riviera Beach. Here, you'll find a wide assortment of mature trees and hedges. Our courteous and knowledgeable team will assist you from planning to planting. Create a yard that ensures privacy and a place your family will love. Benefit from our stress-free white glove service and take advantage of our weather protection plans. From small projects to complete yard transformations, we've got what you're looking for. Come see us today.
Welcome back to Sunday with a Chance of Winning. Final question. Which one of these benefits can you receive every year if you enroll with HealthSun?
Is it $5,000 for comprehensive dental services? $2,400 for groceries, home and pet care supplies and utilities? $1,500 for OTC items, or all of the above?
Cindy?
D, all of them!
Call us today to learn more about our benefits.
You're watching On the Record. on WPBF 25.
Well, welcome back. As Todd just said a moment ago, we are in a battle with opioids, and there's been a devastating impact. Joining me this morning is Micah Robbins with the Recovery Hub of Palm Beach County. First off, thank you so much for being here with us this morning. Tell us a little bit more about the Recovery Hub.
Well, the Recovery Hub is the Community Recovery Hub of Palm Beach County is a warm and inviting place for those in recovery, those seeking recovery, those people that love people in recovery, anybody in the community that needs support in that area to come meet with peers, meet with professionals, get linked up to services that can really help them.
I want to talk a little bit about, I feel like there's a lot of stigmas and stereotypes associated with opioid addiction. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because it's not what everyone thinks.
Well, the stigma is one of the biggest barriers to people getting help and for communities to embrace this issue. Remember, we're talking addiction and behavioral health issues are the #1 health crises in the United States right now. So if it's not you, it's probably someone you love or someone very close to you is dealing with this issue. So it's not a they, them kind of somebody else's issue. It's everybody's issue. Everybody's community, any demographic, any age, stage, place, doesn't matter. This affects everyone.
Talk about the state of addiction here in Palm Beach County.
Well, this is really important because Palm Beach County has been a leader in the recovery movement in the last several years. So we've made a conscious effort to pivot from a sort of treatment-centric deep dive model to a recovery-oriented model. Starting with our county commissioners, they've adopted this as a major platform for the county, putting resources behind it. And so from the ground up, from a groundswell of parent and family member and those in recovery grassroots efforts to having that political will behind it, we have things like the Hub, and we have a recovery-oriented system of care, which is making big differences.
I want to talk a little bit more about that. Having the county and having the city behind you, how does that change things for you?
Well, first of all, it gives that extra, well, not only resources, but it gives that support that it makes it a true community issue.
And this is something we're taking seriously.
We're taking it very seriously. Now remember too, in the past, Palm Beach County was looked at as the epicenter of all the things that were bad with the opioid crisis as well as the treatment of that. And now we are the leaders on all fronts.
Wow. And you guys are really growing. You're building 2 more centers. Talk to us about that and where they're going to be located.
Sure. Well, currently we're in Delray Beach and we are in Lake Worth. We are now creating a center in Riviera Beach, and we're moving out west to Belglade. And both those centers should be open by early fall 2024.
All right. If there's anyone watching this morning that maybe knows someone or someone themselves that may be struggling with addiction, how can they take advantage of these resources? What do we need to tell people?
Well, first of all, you're not alone. There are a lot of resources out there. There's a number of people and professionals and peers and mentors, everything out there to help support you. Easy to access the Hub. Go to pbchub.org. Really easy to remember. That'll at least get you started down the road. And there's information there that can link you to other resources. Also in our county, reaching out to 211 can certainly get that started as well. We have a number of great partners around the community. Tremendous amount of resources that have developed over the last 4 or 5 years. And again, it started with a community saying we need to make a change. The county agreeing, working together to make a difference.
And what, as the community, you know, if you yourself aren't struggling, maybe you don't know someone, but you say, hey, I want to get involved, I want to help, what can we do as a community?
You literally can get involved in the leadership level. We have an advisory committee created by the Board of County Commissioners that's open to anyone in the community to be part of a subcommittee, looking at the issue, looking at how we make decisions, and looking at how we change policy to make a difference in this issue.
Micah, has there been progress over the years? Do you see this getting better?
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword. We are seeing progress year over year in 2022 compared to 2023. Remember, unfortunately, the data lags a little bit. But we had a 17% reduction in overdose deaths here in Palm Beach County. That may not seem like a lot, but that's over 100 individuals that are now still with us and still becoming part of our community and in recovery. So that's a huge, one life is more than enough, right? So we want to make sure we're there to help everyone. So we are making progress, but we're looking at it all across the board, how we're helping the individual, but how we're changing the community as well.
Did the pandemic play a role in some of those numbers, you know, going back up? I would hate to say setback, but did
it certainly
play
did.
a role? Yeah.
It certainly did. We saw relapse numbers shoot through the roof. And of course, this transition from sort of traditional opioids to this entire synthetic category. It started with the pill mills and it started with OxyContin and things like that, but now it's just a synthetic arms race. So what we're seeing now are just synthetic opioid poisonings. Some people call it fentanyl. That's a brand name. That's out there, but really we have over 2,000 derivatives of synthetic opioids out there causing the issue.
Before we wrap up this morning, what is the message that you really just want to get across?
Help is out there. The community is there to support you, and we will do anything we can to help you get through this.
All right, Micah, thank you so much for being here with us this morning and for talking about just this important topic and for making all of these resources available here in our community. My co-anchor Todd McDermott is going to talk to a local woman who found hope. That is coming up when we continue On the Record.
My name is Justin, and this is Ryan, and together we are in a band called Recycled Percussion. Now we turn our attention to doing good in the world and inspiring others. So, welcome to our world of chaos and kindness.
Stream for free only on Very Local.
Watch Yasmin Julmis on WPBF 25 News Mornings.
Diabetes can serve up a lot of questions, like what is your glucose and can you have more carbs? Before you decide. With the Freestyle Libre 3 system, know your glucose and where it's heading. No finger sticks needed. Now the world's smallest and thinnest sensor sends your glucose levels directly to your smartphone. Manage your diabetes with more confidence and lower your A1C, the #1 CGM prescribed in the U.S. Try it for free at freestylelibre.us.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can it keep me warm when I'm cold?
Wait, no, I'm always hot.
Sleep Number does that.
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Sleep Number does that.
Can it help us sleep better and better?
Please.
Sleep Number does that. 94% of smart sleepers report better sleep. Now save 40% on the Sleep Number Special Edition Smart Bed, plus 0% interest for 48 months. Shop now at sleepnumber.com.
All Free Clear is the #1 doctor-recommended brand for sensitive skin.
Whether you have a family with sensitive skin,
or you do yourself.
For a gentle and effective clean, all you need is All Free Clear.
This is Kathy. She's about to see her dentist. She's afraid. Not because of the drill, but because of the bill. A big bill. But Kathy doesn't need to be afraid, and neither do you, thanks to affordable dental insurance from Physicians Mutual Insurance Company. It's easy to get this coverage. Don't believe me? Call or go online for all the details. You could even have this free information kit. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance. It helps pay for over 400 procedures. That's a lot. I'm talking cleanings, fillings, crowns, bridges, root canals, even dentures. Bottom line, you'll have help paying for routine care and expensive major work. But if you want deductibles, forget it. There aren't any. No annual maximum either. Plus, you can see any dentist you want. Stop fearing the big bill. Start saving at the dentist. Call now or go to sendinfokit.com.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
We buy any car. Why sell your car at WeBuyAnyCar.com? Because when you trade in, you're dealing with a dealer.
Ooh, I won again. What are the odds?
Hey, double or nothing?
On average, people pay $990 more when they trade in.
Come to WeBuyAnyCar.com instead. All we do is buy cars. Get in, get out, and get paid at a fair price.
Nice.
Don't gamble with dealers. Get your free online valuation now at
WeBuyAnyCar.com. Welcome back. Joining me now is Darcy Hamilton, an artist, former educator who began her own recovery in 2015, and now she's helping others. Darcy, first, if you would share what you can or would like to about your own personal experience with addiction, how it started, where it led for you.
Yeah, my addiction started with my primary care physician. I went to my doctor, as most people do, and shared some concerns that I was having regarding aches and pains in the body or other physical ailments or some struggles that I had. And the answer for that was prescription medication. It all seemed to ease the pain and numb the pains. The anxieties went away with the anxiety medication. The physical pain went away with the pain medication. And the emotional pain went away with the antidepressants. It all worked great at first. And then after a while, they didn't seem to quite work as well as they did in the beginning. I shared those concerns with my doctor, who upped the dosage and increased the numbers of medications I was on, till eventually it got to the point where it's just unmanageable and out of control, and I realized that I needed to seek some help.
And what was that moment like when you said, this isn't working and I need to get that help? And when was that?
It's when I realized that everything had become unmanageable and out of control. The substances and the chemicals were in charge of my life, and I was no longer in control.
And your recovery led you to the hub.
It did. So when I decided to stop letting chemicals be in control of my life, I did not have the resources to go to rehab. My family did not know how to support me. My family didn't have the knowledge or the resources to help me on that journey. So when I heard about community members in Lake Worth getting together to join a team to try to get a recovery community center built where people could go free of charge to get help on their journeys, I joined forces with those people. We started having meetings, we formed a team, and eventually the hub was born.
You've said that word twice just now, team. And it is so important that people understand that it is a team that helps in the recovery of people who join together.
It takes a community. It takes a community and a team of people working together to make it happen.
If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to mention a personal story. My father was an addiction counselor later in his life. And he felt that his own experience helped him reach people in a different way. Is that something that you see?
It makes all the difference, right? For someone to know that you've been there before and you've made it through your journey and you're there to hold their hand and help them along their journey.
And what do people give you back when you help them on that journey?
Just when people come in and say that they're doing better, to hear their success stories makes all the difference in the world.
Are there things about addiction that maybe those who haven't dealt with it in their families or in their own personal journey, although we know it touches so many families, but are there factors that maybe we don't completely understand if we're outside looking in?
I feel like addiction can be so many things, and I feel like so many people have struggled with this dis-ease. I feel like it touches every life in some way, shape, or form, because addiction can come in so many forms. It's not just drugs, it's not just alcohol, it can be so many things.
Interesting that you used the term disease. I remember when it was decades ago, people started using it. Is it becoming more accepted that this is a disease and that the responsibility isn't borne by the person who becomes addicted?
And I like saying dis-ease, right? Because it is a dis-ease of the system. Your system is not at ease.
That's really profound. One other question I have for you, and that is, if somebody's watching and they are facing an addiction of their own or a family member, what would you tell them this morning?
I would tell them that they are enough, that they matter, that they're not alone, that this is not something they have to face alone. There's a whole community of people that can support them in their recovery. Like at the hub, you can walk in the door and receive that support, the information, and the resources. You're definitely not alone in this journey, and that you are not broken, you are whole.
Can I thank you so much for sharing your story?
Thank you.
I really appreciate it,
Thank
and
you.
the work you do.
Thank you.
Darcy Hamilton. And we'll be right back.
Hello, I am Ana Claudia. The Hispanic population in South Florida just keeps growing. We now represent nearly 1 in 3 young adults in our community. If you are a business owner, that means you have a huge opportunity. Our team at Straya TV West Palm Beach can help you utilize the power for our audience to grow your business. Please call 561-514-7621 for more information.
Injured? Hire the largest injury firm in the world. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
I'm Jill Hazu.
And I'm Erin Burns.
We invite you to join us this Sunday for Total Retirement with Ernie Burns, where we'll discuss wealth management, estate planning, and more.
Ernie was named 2022's Forbes Best In-State Security Professional. You don't want to miss it.
Tickets on sale now for the Donald M. Ephraim Sun and Stars International Film Festival, held February 27th through March 11th.
I've tried them all, the big ones, the small ones, but then I discovered Burlington, and I cannot get enough of it.
Wow, this price is amazing. They have this brand.
I told you so. You'll love the deals. You'll love Burlington. I told you so.
Here's your parachute.
Packed it myself.
Certain it's okay?
Mm-hmm.
Are you for imprint certain?
Certainty matters, like the certainty of congratulating coworkers or saying thank you for being a customer with promotional products from 4imprint. Our expert team is dedicated to making your satisfaction a certainty.
Packed it myself.
Land the perfect products at 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain. In Florida, hurricanes are a part of life. That's why over 100,000 Floridians have made StormSmart a part of theirs. Our Category 5 storm catcher screens, shutters, and high-impact windows are designed to help protect your home from hurricane winds, rain, and airborne debris. In fact, StormSmart can protect every opening in your home. If you live in Florida, extreme weather is a part of life, but for year-round storm protection, you can count on StormSmart. Call 866-60-SMART today for your free in-home consultation.
What makes a performer legendary? How about being the #1 bestseller for 47 years straight? Ford F-150 never settles. It constantly reinvents itself to deliver a commanding performance. Ford F-150, perfect for South Florida.
Now lease a 2023 Ford F-150 truck for just $307 a month for 36 months at your local Ford dealer.
Well, as you heard our guest say this morning, you are not alone and there is help out there. Thanks so much for making us a part of your morning. As always, we encourage you to be part of our discussion each and every Sunday right here at 10 a.m.
Until we see you again, you can watch this morning's On the Record and every episode on our website, that's WPBF.com, and on our free WPBF 25 News app. Matter of Fact with Sullivan O'Brien is next. Have a great day with your family. We'll see you again next Sunday.